The signs of flooding, forced migration, of forest fire and destruction of our planet and our ecosystem, and we're here today to say enough is enough. The truth is that in the past the United States was the big villain, and it still is a big villain, but already we see China overtaking Europe and US combined in terms of emissions. Over half the coal-fired power stations are now in China. And we in Britain pretend, or the Tories pretend, we're playing a good game and we're reducing emissions. But the truth is, we've exported our manufacturing, closed our mines, and we're just importing products that cause climate change. So the reality is that the carbon footprint of consumption in Britain is 8 tonnes per person per year. In China it's 7. And we've all got to do better. People say, well, what are we going to do about it? You know, there isn't an alternative to oil. But just here in Swansea University, we're looking at obviously green energy in terms of wind energy. At the moment, wind energy only goes in at peak times, at breakfast time and tea time. Between that, it isn't used. That is being converted now to hydrogen, put in the gas grid. The gas grid takes 40% up to 40% hydrogen, as it did with coal gas. So if you boil your egg, you could have a lower carbon footprint of 40%. You could have that hydrogen used for transport, for trains, for cars. And yet the Tories won't even allow wind farms on the land in England, presumably because there's too much grouse shooting. I don't know why. Why are we having Swansea Bay Tidal Lagoon? There's enormous opportunity for solar, for wind energy, and any sort of renewable energy. We need to get on with it. And it's just not right that the Tories then say, okay, we'll reduce the tax on petrol. Obviously it's painful for people, but wouldn't it be better if that money was being given for free public transport as it is in Spain, or for €8 a month as it is in Germany? So we could all get to working back and rekindle the economy, which is flat on its face, and help people and make it easier for when people want to have, pay awards, they know their transport was paid for. We need a government that does something about the crisis we face. We have a government in Wales that's doing a lot. I spoke a moment ago to Julie James, who's doing so much for our country in Wales. We need more power to do much more. But only now on the 9th of December in Wales, we're introducing issues about single-use plastics, banning single-use plastics. I introduced the plastics bill only this week, actually. We've got a situation with plastics. There'll be more plastic in the sea than fish by 2050. So my bill was saying we shouldn't export plastic, we should charge manufacturers for the recycling, we should have a global treaty on plastic. But that's my bill. What Julie's doing is actually happening here. I'm putting for a clean air bill next week, actually. But again, a clean air bill will be happening in Wales. But let's be fair, there's limits on the powers that have been given to Wales in terms of what we can do on our own. And we need a Labour government, whether it's for a UK Green Energy Authority, whether it's to really push forward on public transport, to nationalise the railways, etc., etc. We need to move forward sooner rather than later. And finally, let me say this, in terms of this protest, and the last speaker mentioned Egypt, we've got a situation now where the Tories are banning the right to peaceful protest. This year is the 125th anniversary of the birth of Aneurin Bevan, who founded the Health Service. And Aneurin Bevan famously said in his book, In Place of Fear, that politics consists of a struggle between property and those who are basically representing property, namely the Tories, and poverty, and those who represented the mass of people, namely the Labour Party. And in difficult times, property attacks democracy, because democracy is the only way that we can get our fair share. And what we're seeing now is banning the right to peaceful protest. We're seeing surveillance of people. We're seeing controls of what the internet they can do. You've got to have some sort of voter ID to vote and photo ID to vote. And there's all other sorts of gun. It's in a situation now, instead of 40 MPs in Wales, there'll be 32. So they can see the way things are moving. People can't afford to eat and heat. They're destroying our planet. And we're here together in solidarity to protest against that. We want change. We believe in hope, and we want change now. Thank you very much.